Rejection. It happens to every man, but not every man knows how to handle it the right way. Some shake it off like it's nothing. Others let it destroy their confidence, overanalyzing every word, every moment, and every reason why she said no. Some get angry. Some retreat into self-doubt. And some even swear off women altogether. But here's the reality. Rejection is not something to fear. It's something to master. And if you don't learn how to handle it, you'll never become the kind of man who naturally attracts women in the first place. Welcome to Man of Substance, where we teach men how to move with confidence and purpose. Today, we're tackling a topic that too many men struggle with: how to handle rejection from women. Let's be real. No man enjoys getting turned down. It stings. It can make you second-guess yourself. But here's the truth. Rejection is not a sign of failure. It's a test of your mentality as a man. If you let one woman's disinterest shake your confidence, then you never had real confidence to begin with. Most men take rejection personally. They think, maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe I should have said something different. Maybe I need to prove myself more. Wrong. That kind of thinking puts women on a pedestal and makes you desperate for validation. And that's exactly why so many men struggle with attraction in the first place. A man who understands his worth doesn't fear rejection. He respects it. He takes it as part of the process, learns from it, and keeps moving forward. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to handle rejection like a man, without losing your confidence, without getting bitter, and without wasting your time overthinking it. By the time we're done, you'll see rejection in a whole new way, one that makes you stronger, not weaker. Let's get into it. Before we start, I've created a community on Podia where I break down everything you need to know, step by step. You'll get no-nonsense, practical advice that will boost your confidence and help you build stronger, more meaningful connections. And the best part? The first 20 people who join will get an exclusive discount. So don't hesitate. Click the link in the description to grab your spot. If you know someone who could use this, share it with them. 1. Rejection is a woman's test. You either pass or fail. Most men think rejection is just a woman saying she's not interested. But here's the truth. Sometimes rejection isn't real. It's a test. Women don't always reject because they don't like you. Sometimes they reject to see how you'll react. Think about it. Women are naturally drawn to strong, confident men. And the best way to test a man's confidence? Reject him and see if he crumbles. A weak man takes it personally, gets emotional, or tries harder to impress her. A strong man? He doesn't flinch. That's the difference. A woman might push you away just to see if you can handle it. If you break down, get desperate, or beg for another chance, you've proven you're not the kind of man she wants. On the other hand, if you brush it off, stay cool, and act completely unbothered, you've shown confidence, and that makes you even more attractive. Now, let's take this a step further. Sometimes, rejection happens because a woman is unsure. Women don't always know what they want in the moment. One day she's not interested. The next day, she's second-guessing herself. Why? Because your reaction to rejection tells her everything she needs to know about you. A confident man doesn't argue, doesn't chase, and doesn't get bitter. He moves forward like nothing happened. And that reaction alone can change everything. Let's say you approach a woman at a bar, and she says, "I'm not interested." A weak man might say, "Oh, sorry for bothering you," walk away with his head down, and feel defeated the rest of the night. Worse, he might start questioning himself. Was I not good enough? Did I say something wrong? That kind of thinking destroys confidence over time. Now imagine a different response. You smile, maintain eye contact, and say, "Fair enough, but I bet you'll change your mind." Then you walk away with confidence, like you weren't affected at all. Guess what happens next? She starts wondering, why wasn't he fazed? Is he different from other guys? Did I make a mistake? The moment a woman starts thinking about you after rejecting you, you've already won. Rejection is a filter. It separates men who break under pressure from men who hold their frame. Women respect men who can handle rejection without losing confidence. If you pass that test, you leave a lasting impression, even if she doesn't say yes immediately. This is why rejection should never be feared. It's an opportunity to prove you're unfazed, unshaken, and completely in control. 2. Chasing after her proves you deserve rejection. Rejection isn't the problem. Chasing after rejection is. Most men don't realize that the moment a woman turns them down, how they react determines everything. The worst mistake a man can make? Trying to convince her otherwise. A lot of guys hear no and immediately start negotiating. They think if they explain themselves better, prove their worth, or just try harder, she'll change her mind. But here's the brutal truth. The more you chase, the more you prove she was right to reject you. Why? Because desperation is unattractive. A man who truly values himself never begs for attention. He doesn't need to force a woman to see his worth. She either sees it or she doesn't. And if she doesn't, he moves on. Simple. Here's where most men fail. They mistake persistence for strength. They think if they keep showing up, texting, or proving they're a good guy, the woman will eventually realize she made a mistake. But in reality, all she sees is a man who lacks options. A man who is truly high value doesn't have time to chase women who reject him. He's too busy living his life, improving himself, and attracting women who actually want him. Let's say you ask a woman out, and she says, "I'm not really looking for anything right now." The wrong move? Trying to convince her. Saying things like, "Are you sure? I think we'd be great together." Or, "Come on, just give me a chance." That instantly kills attraction, because now you're trying to earn her approval instead of standing on your own value. Now, imagine handling it differently. She says, "I'm not really looking for anything right now." Instead of chasing, you simply respond, "No worries, take care." Then, you walk away like nothing happened. You don't double text her, you don't wait around, and you definitely don't try to prove yourself. What happens next? A woman who was unsure might start questioning her decision. Confidence is rare, and when a man walks away with self-respect, it stands out. She might even reach out later, but even if she doesn't, you win. Why? Because you didn't waste your time. Here's the truth. A man who chases after a woman who rejected him is telling her she made the right choice. And a man who walks away tells her she might have just lost something valuable. Always be that man. 3. Your reaction determines your value as a man. Rejection doesn't define you. How you handle it does. Every man faces rejection at some point, but what separates the weak from the strong is their reaction. When a woman rejects you, she's not just saying no to a date. Whether she realizes it or not, she's watching to see if you break under pressure or if you stand firm. Most men take rejection personally. They walk away with their heads down, questioning their worth, wondering what they did wrong. They replay the situation in their minds, convincing themselves they weren't good enough. But that mindset is exactly why they struggle with women in the first place. A confident man doesn't let rejection shake him. He knows who he is, and one woman's opinion doesn't change that. Women are naturally drawn to strength. Not just physical strength, but emotional strength. A man who lets rejection ruin his confidence is showing weakness. He's proving that his self-worth is tied to a woman's validation. And once a woman senses that, it's over. You've probably seen it before. A guy gets turned down, and suddenly his whole attitude shifts. Maybe he gets bitter, makes a sarcastic comment, or tries to play it off like he never cared. That reaction alone confirms why he got rejected in the first place. Insecurity is loud, but confidence is silent. A man who truly values himself doesn't need to lash out, overcompensate, or prove anything. He just moves forward like nothing happened. Now, let's be real. Rejection stings. No man enjoys it. But the difference between a high-value man and an average guy is simple. One lets it define him, the other uses it as fuel. A strong man sees rejection as a reminder to keep improving, to become even better, to refine his mindset and his approach. Think about it. When a man reacts negatively to rejection, he's telling the world he's weak. He's showing that his confidence was just an illusion, easily shattered by one woman's disinterest. But when a man stays calm, unfazed, and keeps moving forward, he becomes magnetic. Women can sense when a man is solid within himself. They can feel when he's unshaken, when he doesn't need their approval to feel valuable. And that kind of man, he never stays rejected for long. Men who understand this don't waste time chasing validation. They focus on their goals, improve themselves, and keep moving forward. And the irony? The moment you stop fearing rejection, women start noticing you more. 4. Most women reject men for the wrong reasons. Ignore it. Here's something most men don't realize. A lot of women reject men for reasons that have nothing to do with them. A woman might turn you down not because you lack value, but because of her mood, her past experiences, or even her own insecurities. Yet too many men take rejection personally, as if it's a reflection of their worth. Think about it. How many times have you seen a woman reject a good man, only to go after a guy who treats her terribly? It happens all the time. Women aren't always logical in their choices. They're emotional, influenced by factors that men can't always predict or control. Maybe she just got out of a relationship. Maybe she's chasing another guy who's ignoring her. Maybe she's in a phase where she only wants validation. None of that is about you. But here's the mistake most men make. They try to fix themselves after being rejected, thinking they did something wrong. They start analyzing every detail, wondering if they should have said something different, dressed a different way, or acted more confident. They assume rejection means they weren't good enough, when in reality, it often means nothing at all. A high-value man doesn't waste time overanalyzing. He understands that rejection is just part of the game. He knows that women don't always make sense with their choices, and he doesn't let one rejection shake his confidence. If she says no, that's her choice, but it doesn't change his path. He keeps moving forward, improving himself, and focusing on the women who actually recognize his value. The truth is, women often reject the right men and chase the wrong ones. And if you let a woman's rejection make you doubt yourself, you'll never win. You have to understand that sometimes she's rejecting you because she's not in the right mindset to appreciate what you bring. And if that's the case, that's her loss, not yours. Men who take rejection too seriously waste their time. They stop trying. They become bitter. And worst of all, they start believing they're not good enough. But the men who ignore the nonsense and keep pushing forward, they're the ones who eventually get the results. So remember this. Most women reject men for the wrong reasons. Don't let that stop you. 5. Confidence after rejection makes you more attractive. Rejection is a moment of truth. It separates men who let their value be dictated by a woman's response from those who stand firm in who they are. Most men don't realize that a woman's rejection isn't always final. It's often a subconscious test, a moment where she's watching to see how you handle yourself under pressure, and the way you respond can either confirm her decision or make her second-guess it. When a man reacts with disappointment, frustration, or desperation, he only reinforces the rejection. It tells the woman she was right to turn him down because he lacks emotional strength. But when a man stays completely unfazed, carries himself with confidence, and doesn't let it shake his energy, he does something unexpected. He makes her curious. That calmness, that ability to take rejection with ease, is something most men don't have. And that alone can shift the way a woman sees you. Imagine this. You approach a woman, engage her in conversation, and show genuine interest. She responds politely, but tells you she's not interested. In that moment, a weak man might shrink, feel embarrassed, or try to convince her otherwise. A confident man, however, doesn't flinch. He smiles, nods, and responds casually before going about his business like it didn't even matter. That right there changes the dynamic. Instead of confirming her decision, he makes her question it. His reaction tells her he's used to winning, that he has options, and that he's not the type of man who gets thrown off by one rejection. Confidence isn't tested when things are going well, it's tested in moments of challenge. A man who remains cool after rejection sends a powerful message. It shows he isn't desperate, that he doesn't put any one woman on a pedestal, and that his worth isn't tied to external validation. That kind of mindset makes a man stand out. Women respect men who don't seek their approval. They're drawn to those who have a strong sense of self, regardless of the outcome. And ironically, the moment you stop needing a woman's validation is when you start becoming more attractive to her. It's not about playing games. It's about proving, through your actions, that you are in control of yourself. Most men never realize this. They fear rejection, avoid it, or let it destroy their confidence. But the men who embrace it, who stay composed and move forward without hesitation, are the ones who ultimately win. Because in the end, confidence after rejection is what separates the average man from the one women can't ignore. 6. Rejection is inevitable. Most men live in fear of rejection, and that's exactly why they stay stuck. They hesitate, overthink, and avoid taking risks, because they don't want to face the possibility of a woman turning them down. And that's the very reason they fail. A man who lets rejection control him is already defeated. Meanwhile, the men who succeed, the ones who attract women effortlessly, are the ones who understand a simple truth. Rejection is inevitable, but it only weakens those who fear it. Too many men act like rejection is some kind of personal failure, as if one woman's opinion determines their worth. They take it as an attack on their masculinity, get discouraged, and start blaming women for their struggles. But the reality is, rejection isn't the problem. The problem is how weak men react to it. Instead of using rejection as fuel, they let it break them. Instead of learning from it, they let it convince them they're not good enough. Here's the hard truth. Rejection is a test. It's a filter. It separates the men who are mentally strong from those who crumble under pressure. Weak men get rejected and retreat. Strong men get rejected and push forward even harder. They see it as a lesson, not a defeat. They refine their approach, build resilience, and come back stronger. They don't sit around feeling sorry for themselves. They adapt, improve, and keep moving. That's why, over time, strong men start winning more often, while weak men keep failing. If you're the kind of man who lets rejection destroy your confidence, it's time to wake up. No successful man, whether in dating, business, or life, has gotten where he is by avoiding rejection. Every strong, desirable man you look up to has been turned down, dismissed, and overlooked at some point. The difference is, he didn't let it define him. He used it as fuel to level up. Women respect men who don't fold under pressure. A man who handles rejection with composure and keeps moving forward proves that he has emotional strength, and that alone makes him more attractive. When you stop fearing rejection, you start taking more risks. And the more risks you take, the more you realize rejection was never the real problem. It was always your mindset. Weak men will keep running from rejection. Strong men will embrace it, learn from it, and use it to build unshakable confidence. Which one are you? 7. Reject. Most men walk into interactions with women already hoping for approval. They put all the power in her hands, waiting for her to decide whether he's good enough. That's exactly why they get rejected. When a woman senses that a man sees her as the prize, she automatically values herself more and him less. But the men who truly succeed in attraction approach things differently. Instead of waiting to be judged, they take control. They step into every interaction with the mindset that they are the ones doing the choosing. Here's where most men fail. They see rejection as something that happens to them. They assume it's always about the woman making a decision, and they just have to deal with the result. But a high-value man doesn't operate that way. He doesn't just go after any woman who gives him attention. He evaluates her, he decides if she meets his standards, and he's not afraid to walk away. This shift in mindset changes everything. When you start thinking like a man who rejects first, rejection stops affecting you. The biggest mistake weak men make is chasing women blindly, without considering if she even deserves their attention. They put effort into every woman who shows interest, thinking they have to win her over. That's the wrong mentality. A man who understands his value doesn't try to win women. He gives them the opportunity to win him. And if she doesn't qualify, he moves on without hesitation. This is what separates men who command respect from those who constantly feel powerless. When you reject first, when you assess a woman just as much as she's assessing you, you flip the dynamic. Suddenly, you're not the one chasing, you're the one deciding. Women notice this shift. They can feel when a man isn't desperate, when he isn't seeking validation. And paradoxically, that's exactly what makes them more interested. A man who isn't afraid to walk away becomes a man women don't want to lose. This is the mindset most men never develop. They stay stuck in the cycle of trying to be chosen instead of realizing they have the power to choose. And because of that, they keep getting rejected, keep feeling powerless, and keep wondering why things never change. But the moment you stop fearing rejection, the moment you start rejecting first, you take back control. Most men beg for acceptance. A man of value never does. Rejection was never the problem. Your fear of it was. Every man watching this right now has two choices. Keep letting women decide your worth, or step into the mindset where you do the choosing. Most men will never figure this out. They'll stay stuck, chasing approval, hoping for a different outcome while making the same weak mistakes. But the men who understand what we've talked about today, they're the ones who will rise above the rest. Here's the harsh reality. The more afraid you are of rejection, the more women will reject you. That's how it works. Women can sense when a man needs validation, when he's hoping she'll say yes just to feel worthy. And they don't respect it. But the moment you stop seeking approval, the moment you handle rejection like it doesn't even matter, you become the kind of man women actually want. If any of this hit home for you, drop a comment below. Have you ever let rejection get the best of you? Have you ever turned the tables and seen a woman regret rejecting you? I want to hear about it. I read the comments and I'll be responding. So let's talk. Most men avoid rejection their whole lives. The strongest men embrace it, learn from it, and use it to dominate. Which one are you going to be? If you're looking to take a deeper dive into these concepts, join my Podia community, link in the description. It's packed with powerful insights to help you master your masculinity in today's dating world. Stay strong, stay focused, and protect your power. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.